Greetings and salutations, my friends and acquaintances and comrades and nemesis, nemesis. I'm not sure. Whatever, but better not good people. I'm very glad to see all of you here today. At last, finally, we have some more last week in World Urban Railways today, and yeah, also decided to try this, background removal, cool technology. I think it looks a little cleaner, and it's quite easy for me actually. So onwards to today's news. Today we have three pieces of news, and we'll start with Berlin. This news took place on 15th of June, so last Monday actually. So I had to put it in a previous video, but I once again overlooked it. I'm sorry. If only there was some sort of resource where you could obtain all the pieces of news about transit infrastructure, that would be so much easier for me to work. In Berlin, we had a new S-Bahn line launched, S15, which is now the shortest on the network. But the vision behind this line is a lot bigger, as I understand it. So basically, S-Bahn network of Berlin has a structure of east-west trunk line with branches, north-south trunk line with branches, and also Ringbahn, a ring, also with branches actually. So this is the S-Bahn, the U-Bahn is more centrally located with more frequent stops and generally slower. But now we finally have a connection from Wedding on the Ringbahn towards Hauptbahnhof. Hauptbahnhof being the main central station of Berlin, which has all the Deutsche Bahn services, all the high-speed trains, ICE, and also the actually this east-west trunk line. So S-Bahn services 3, 5, 7, and 9, all the odd numbers, and also it's a terminus for U-Bahn, U-Bahn line 5. Yeah, so Hauptbahnhof is this huge structure that has a lot of interconnections. It looks very, very impressive actually for rail infrastructure. And now we have S-Bahn going into the tunnel and terminating at this station. Now, S15 is actually only around 4 kilometers long, so it acts as a shuttle between Hauptbahnhof and Gesundbrunnen. Gesundbrunnen is also quite an important large station interchange on the northern part of the ringway, and also it goes through Wedding. All of these three stations have interchanges with the metro, with the U-Bahn, and also Gesundbrunnen has the interchange with the north-south trunk line. So a lot of interchanges. Basically, these sort of short lines are sometimes very useful if they provide a lot of interchanges and are basically like last mile connections. But as I understand it, the vision behind this line is grander. They want to turn this tunnel that exists between Hauptbahnhof and the Yorkstrasse station. They want to turn it into a second trunk north-south way for S-Bahn trains, right? So you have this big underground tunnel in the city center between Nordbahnhof and the Yorkstrasse, and they want to put a second one between Hauptbahnhof and Yorkstrasse. So this plan is called S21. This is going to be the name of the service that's running through it, and I think they might reroute some of the suburban routes through it. But work is currently going on still. But at Hauptbahnhof they have made this temporary platform for S15 to operate. So currently it's just a shuttle with 3 stations, but I think it's going to be quite useful, for people from the north. They can connect at Gesundbrunnen and go into Hauptbahnhof, where a lot of very, it's a dense place in the city center. There is Europe City or Europa City. I'm not sure, is it German or English, right? City, because let's say Europa City. It's one of the business districts of Berlin, which there are many of. onwards towards Foshan, where a new stretch of metro spanning 4 kilometers was opened. Sounds like not such a big of a deal for China, but it's actually quite important because this stretch of Metro Line 3 of Foshan connects two previously independent sections of this metro line. So the central section didn't exist with two stretches on the sides existing, and now it's all connected. The stretch between Lianghe and Zhongshan, Gongyuan stations is now full with the intermediate station and Dunhou. They also plan to build another infill station later. It's still in the works, an interchange to Foshan railway station, main railway station for big trains, basically for high-speed trains also. This is very important. I think they are working on it, and they want to build it very big, very grand. That's why it's taken them some time. But I want to mention some things about Foshan. Foshan has three main metro lines, but it doesn't show everything. Foshan is actually connected by metro to Guangzhou, and this whole region basically has these interconnected metro lines. Foshan connected to Guangzhou, Guangzhou almost connected to Dongyuan, and it also almost connected to Shenzhen, and Shenzhen is connected to Hong Kong. So basically we have this one giant city now with so many metros that there are literally interchanges between different cities metros, right? And also Foshan also has this Guangzhou line, which goes between Guangzhou and Foshan, between the centers of these cities. So apart from metros, you have these rapid intercity metros and a lot of other services. So basically we're talking about like a huge conurbation of 80-90 million people. That's pretty impressive, for such a city. I don't know, it's like it seems like metro is almost irrelevant, right? You won't go to the other side of the city, no. in no time. You probably just spend your time in your small district, but still being a part of this, it probably has some grand feelings. But this is the situation currently with Foshan. We've seen a line being connected in the center, very useful, very cool. And onwards to Istanbul. I have covered Istanbul not so long ago. I covered the Asian side, the eastern part. Now the western part, because we had extension of line 11 of the metro, which is the Airport Express. Yes, it uses metro standards, but it has less frequent stops to reach the airport. So this Airport Express previously reached the city at the station Gaziantep, and now this Airport Express can also reach the city from the other side towards Halkali. And here on the 19th of June, so previous Friday, we've seen new development from Arnavutköy Hastane to Halkali. So now you can, when you're in the airport, you have a through running station, right? Not a terminus. And on both sides of this line, you have the pretty close to the city center station. So you can choose like which side do you want to go, like where do you have to be. I still think Gaziantep is closer to the city center, but they're building line 1 also towards Halkali. So then you can transfer there. If that's all complete, you can transfer there to Yenikapı, which is basically like the most central location in terms of transit, right? But here we have a very unusual and very cool development, because you probably know that Istanbul is airport is quite new. They only built a new airport not that long ago, and now it has not one but two different metro connections basically, right? You have connections to two different parts of the city. not quite centrally located, but pretty centrally, I should say. Like for such a big city, you can then transfer to other services. And also, Halkali is the station on Marmaray. Yeah, the one that crosses the strait. You know, in Istanbul, you don't have any metro lines that cross the strait between Europe and Asia, but only this suburban rail line does it, called Marmaray, which uses also big passenger trains. And also, I think freight trains also use this tunnel. But still, at Halkali, you can switch over to Marmaray and go to the Asian side. So this is probably the easiest part, the easiest way to get to the airport of the city, a new or big airport. If you live in Asia, you want to plop on the Marmaray and then switch to the Metro Line 11 at Halkali. I think that's the best part. And now I'm gonna read all the station names. Yeah, today we have German, Chinese, and Turkish. You know, all the very simple, very easy, not hard at all languages to speak. Right? In Berlin, Gesundbrunnen, wedding, and Hauptbahnhof. In Foshan, Lianhe, Dunhou, and Zhongshan. And in Istanbul, we have Halkale, Halkalistade, Olympiadköy, Kayşehir, Ibn Khaldim Üniversitesi, and Arnavutköy Hastane. I think that was pretty good for all intents and purposes. Thank you for your attention.